Hi, everyone. I'm trying a new approach to release notes for new versions of GRMHIS. This is for version 11 of GRMHIS, and rather than sending you a big fat document with lots of screenshots, I thought I would try a demo video to show you the new features that are available. So with version 11 of GRMHIS, I'm releasing a new integrated survey module. The integrated survey module allows you to create surveys in GRMHIS, send them out, send invitations out to specific families, and it builds some logic around the types of surveys that you can send out. So say a family experience survey for new family versus repeat families, or a self-identification survey. And these might appear at different times. So one would be for when a family checks out, another one would be for a family when a family checks in, and then also just being able to send out general surveys to families to help you manage that. The other benefit of the integrated survey module is that we can set it up now to create reminders to families. So if you send out an invitation to fill out a survey, we can also set it up that if the family hasn't filled it out within a certain number of days, they'll get a reminder email. And you can create as many different numbers of reminders as you would want to. And then be able to track your success rate in terms of the number of survey invitations that you send out versus the number of surveys that families are actually completing for you. So yeah, I'm going to create 3 different videos as part of this set. One will be showing you how to create surveys and just manage them. And then I'll create a separate video for sending out invitations and managing those. And then I'll create a third video for downloading the results and producing your reports. Hopefully that way we can sort of chunk it up a little bit. And we'll also have some specific instruction videos that you can use maybe internally for just how to send out invitations, for example. So this new module is part of the online suite of modules that are available for GRMHIS. If you're already using the online room request module, you will already see this option here that says web module settings. If you're not currently using the online room request module and it's not enabled for you, you can reach out to me and we can ensure that this web module gets enabled and that you have the necessary information set up in GRMHIS in order to be able to activate this module. So the web module is available on the tools menu. I'm going to click on it here, and you'll get the GRMHIS web module settings screen that will appear. I'm not going to cover all of these tabs. I'm just going to focus for this video on the surveys tab. The other tabs all have to do with the online room request module. So under the surveys tab here, excuse me, you'll see 6 surveys that have already been pre-populated into your GRMHIS. They are 3 surveys split over 2 languages, English and French. So there's a new family survey, English and French, repeat family surveys, English and French, and a self-identification survey, English and French. And you'll be able to make changes to these surveys. They're just there, set up, ready for you to start using. Or you can just publish them as they are. You don't necessarily have to make any changes, but the option is there. So this is the 6 surveys that are already available. And this is also where you will be able to create or edit the surveys that are in GRMHIS. I'm going to show you how to create a new survey. So I will just add a new survey here, and I'll call it my sample survey. So the survey name is for your internal use. If I just move this out of the way, you'll see here I've got new families French. That's just so that internally you know which survey it is that you're sending out and managing. The title is what will actually appear on the web form. So I'm just going to call this sample survey. So not my sample survey, but sample survey. And there are currently 4 types. You can add your own types to this, but there are 4 system types that have been added in here. One is a family experience survey for new families and a family experience for repeat families. These 2 survey types will be available for you when families check out. You'll be able to just do it as part of the checkout process, select the appropriate survey, and it'll pick it for you. If it's a new family, it'll pick for you that it's new or repeat, or suggest it to you that way. And so you'll be able to send out the appropriate survey without having to spend a lot of time thinking about it. There's a general family survey, which just sort of meant as a catch-all, which will be available both at check-in and at check-out for you to be able to send out surveys. And then a self-identification survey, which is available at check-in. So this is a survey that a large number of chapters are using when families check in to just get some more information about the family, just identifying who they are to help you serve them better. And you can, again, create the survey however you need that to be set up. So I'm going to select here that this is just, I'm going to create it as a general family survey. There is a reporting code field here that will also carry through to the questions and to the answers that are available. And this is optional. The reason why that's there is that you may want to be able to set up different languages for the same survey. And what the reporting code allows you to do is to tie all of the responses together into a single report. So even though you might send out different language versions of the same survey, the reporting code, as long as it's identical across each of the surveys, allows us then to pull all those responses together into a single. And at the same time, you can also still report out per survey. So you can also see that, compare your differences between English, French, Spanish, whatever languages that you might have. And I'll show you in a second on the existing, because I did set up reporting codes on the existing surveys that come with GRMHIS, so you can see how that is set up to work. So that's just the information about the survey. So we need to give it a name, a title, and a type. And these settings here have to do with the invitations that are sent out to the family. So when you create an invitation, you can delay the number of days before the invitation actually gets sent. So for example, when you create an invitation as the family checks out, if you don't want the actual survey invitation to come to them until 2 days after they've checked out, you can set that up. So what it does is it creates the invitation and it just holds on to the invitation for 2 days. And then once the 2 days have elapsed, then it will send the invitation out to the family. Then after the initial email has been sent, you can also have GRMHIS send out reminders. And so we want reminders sent every 7 days in this case, or you can make it 14 days or however you want to set this up. And I want to send a maximum of 2 reminders. So what will happen is on day 1, they will get an invitation. If they haven't completed it after 7 days, they will get a reminder that there was a survey request. And if they haven't completed it after 14 days, they will get a second reminder. And if I set up a third, it'll be 21 days, etc. Then the last parameter that I can do here says if there is no response, the invitation will expire 60 days after the invitation was first sent. So this just allows me to say an invitation, because especially if they're not getting reminders anymore after 14 days, there's no point in having an invitation sitting out there forever. So we'll actually have it that invitations expire and they can get cleared out, and then you can see the number of families later on in your reports. You'll be able to see the number of families who've let invitations lapse and so on as well. So this has to do with sending out of invitations and how long the invitation is active. Then there's a set of instructions that you can set up. So there is a survey description that can be displayed at the top of the survey. There is just be above the submit button or the done button. You can also have some additional text there that might explain certain things about the survey or procedures or something like that. And then after they've pressed done, you can customize the text that comes up there. Maybe you want to say thank you for whatever for the survey has been filled out. There is some default text if you leave this blank that the system has, but this allows you to customize it. And then if a family comes back so they've submitted the survey and they come back and they click on the link again, they will actually be told this survey has already been filled out. The benefit of that is if you send it out to say 4 email addresses in one family, and one person fills it out, when a second person tries to access the survey, they'll get a notice, oh, it's already been submitted. The benefit of this is we prevent one family from submitting 2 responses, and it also ensures that you can make sure that the family doesn't submit multiple responses, and they also know, okay, somebody has already completed the survey. I don't need to worry about it. So for the survey description here, I'll just put in some text here. And you'll notice here on the right, it shows here bold, italics, underline. This allows you to italicize or bold certain parts. So all you have to do is have to highlight the text here, and I can click the bold button, and it puts some markup text around that that GRMHIS knows how to interpret and make that bold. So I'm going to say here, I want this italicized as well, and I want it underlined. So I'm going to include all of that text there. So I'm going to say underline. So that's just how the markup goes. So you should actually notice here that for every opening tag, there has to be a corresponding close tag. So that is the survey description. I can add additional text for each of these. I'll just leave the defaults here. Then there are two templates that you can set up. So I'm just going to put in here. So this is the email message that will get sent out when an invitation is created. And I'm going to say here, dear, and I'm going to insert a placeholder for the person that I want to address this email to. And I'll show you afterwards in the second video where you can actually customize the specific text that goes there. So Grimace will actually replace that placeholder with some text that you determined for that specific family. So I'm just going to say, so this is, I'm going to now insert a URL placeholder. So every family gets a unique key that is going to be theirs, so that identifies their specific invitation, so that we can track whether or not that specific family has sent out the survey. So this survey URL placeholder is where Grimace will stick that URL for their specific invitation in there. If I don't fill this out, Grimace, and I try to save this, and I'll show you this afterwards with the reminder template, you'll actually get a notice. You have to have the survey URL tag in your email template. So I will do, I'm just going to copy this and I'll say reminder. And I'm going to copy this same template. I'm going to take out that survey URL so that I can show that. And so I'm just going to leave that survey URL tag out. If I try to save this, I'm going to get a message that says, please add the placeholder for the survey URL. So that's just a reminder that I have to put that in there. And it won't let you save it without that survey URL in there. That way we don't have invitations going out with any links, without any links in them. So now I can save, and I've got my survey essentially set up with some settings, some basic instructions that go at the top or bottom of the invitation, and then the invitation template and reminder template. So now I need to actually create some questions for my survey. And if I try to publish it without questions, I'm going to get a message that says you can't publish it. So you are able to save without questions, but not publish. So I'm going to click Add here. And this is where we're going to set up our first question. So I'm just going to say, how did you first hear about us? And there's an explanation box that's here. I'll just put, and I'll show this to you afterwards when we look at the survey, what that where that text goes. So we've got an optional explanation box. It basically just goes below the question. And then there are a number of answer types that I can select. So there's multiple choice, which is just a series of radio buttons where they have to pick one of the options. There's a checkboxes option, which gives them a series of checkboxes, and they can select any number of those checkboxes. A drop-down list is exactly like this here. It's a drop-down list with one option that they can pick. There is a matrix/rating scale, which would be a series of rows and then columns across the top with a rating scale. So for example, poor, poor, not poor, medium, good, whatever. Those types of options are there. You can also have a single text box answer. So if you have a question where you just need a one-line answer, you can have a single text box. Or if you want them to produce, to add some comments in general, there's a comment box option. And then some additional ones, a date and time, a date only or a time only. I'm not sure how often these would get used, but they are available as options at least. So I'm going to select for this multiple choice. Below the multiple choice, I have the ability also of showing a comment box. So even though I haven't selected the comment box, so comment box only is only a comment box, but with a multiple choice or check boxes or a rating scale, I also have the ability of showing a comments box. So I'm just going to put that there. And I'm just going to put here some options from a doctor, nurse, from a social worker. And we'll just do one other that says other, and I'll put in here, please specify. And for anything where I want to please specify, I need to check off this box here that says detail required, because that will actually create a box where they can then specify what other option is there. So that creates my first question. I'm going to add a second question here, and I'll say, how long did you stay with us? And it will also be a multiple choice option, and I'll just say here 1 to 3 nights, 4 to 7 nights, 8 nights to 1 month, 1 month to 3 months. Or actually, I'll say more than 1 month, but less than 3, and then more than 3 months. And these are going to be multiple choice, not not checkboxes. So there'll be multiple choice here. So that's my second question. We've got, how did you first hear about us? How long did you stay with us? And then I'm going to create a simple rating scale here. And I'm going to say for each process below, please rate your experience. And so this is going to be a rating scale. And so for rating scales, you see there are now rows and columns. So I'm going to do, the rows will be what appears down the left-hand side here. So I'm going to say ease of process, get a room, and ease of check-in, ease of check-out. I'm going to show the reporting codes after when I show the existing servers that are already there. And I'm going to say explanation of procedures. By the way, if I have typed these in the wrong order and I want to reorder them, I can also just click on the row header here and I can drag them around as to where I want them. So, whoops, I have to actually save that row. So I can drag them around and reorder them this way as well. So if I wanted at the bottom, I can put it down at the bottom again. So just drag and drop to reorder. So here I'm going to have poor, below average, average, good, very good, don't know, and not applicable. Again, with the columns, if I want to reorder these, if I want the poor to be at the very bottom, I can just drag it down and move it where I want it to go. So I can just reorder the columns. So even though you haven't typed them in the right order, you can still reorder them how you want them to be. So there's a rating scale. I'm also just going to do general comment box. And we'll just say this is a comment box only. And I'm also going to, just a second here, to find an option. I'm going to say, if you were placed on the wait lists, where did you sleep? And so I will do this as checkboxes, and we'll just give some options here at the, I'll say bedside, in a waiting room, in a hospital guest room, in my car, other, and I'll do, please specify again, I'll just put the text there, and we'll say detail required, and I'm going to say I wasn't placed on the wait list. Okay, and I want a minimum of one answer. I could have a maximum number if I wanted to, or I'll just leave it at no limit, which means they could select every single option potentially if they wanted to. So I'm going to say okay here. Now, same thing as with the rows and columns. If I have these questions and I want to reorder, actually, I want this ahead of the general comments, I'm just going to drag this question up over here, and then I can reorder the question. So you see now that becomes question 4, and my general comments becomes question 5. And let me save that. I'm going to add one more option in here. Would you be interested in becoming an ambassador? If you are interested, please select yes and provide your email address. Please note that your email address will not be linked to your answers, and your answers will still be anonymous. I'm going to say here, this will be multiple choice. Yes and no will be the options. And then I want to capture contact information there. So we'll just say, yeah, we want to capture an email address for them. Excuse me. So now I have this survey that's essentially ready to be used. So in order to use a survey, in order to be able to create invitations, I need to publish the survey. So I'm going to publish this survey, and I'll say yes here. Once the survey is published, you'll also notice that you're able to preview the survey. So even before you send out any invitations, if you just want to see what the survey looks like, you can publish it, and then you can just have a look. So this is not a completable survey. There's no submit button down at the bottom. It just gives you the survey itself. So you'll remember when I entered my survey instructions here, I said this is the description that goes at the top. I underlined, italicized, and bolded that. So that will now appear here as italicized, underlined, and bolded. And I have my questions here. So how did I hear about us? And the explanation text that I had set up on that question. So again, if I come back here and I go to that question, how did you first hear about us? Well, I have to unpublish this now in order to edit it. So here, that explanation text goes there. That's now appearing right here. And then there are the options there. If I select other, you'll notice that this box becomes enabled and they would select other there. The comment box that I enabled for this first question is also appears. This one does not have a comment box. Here's the rating scale. So those are the rows, and then these are the columns. So poor, below average, etc. So that's the way that's structured. And then a checkbox list. So you'll notice here that I can select multiple checkboxes, whereas for the multiple choice, I can only select one option. That's there. And then for the interested in becoming an ambassador, I can say yes and no, and then the email address there. Okay, so that shows you how you can at least view the survey itself. So I'll go back here and let me just publish this again. Okay, so that's the creation of a survey. You also have the ability to copy a survey. So there are a bunch of surveys that are created here. You may have created one yourself, and let's say you want to create a French version of this particular survey. I can open it up, and I simply hit copy survey here, and it makes a duplicate copy. And now I can go ahead and I can make any changes and edits that I want to have here. I would recommend before you copy, obviously you want to make sure that you have everything filled out, especially the reporting codes, so that you can make sure that you can tie your answers together. And I'll just show you that from these surveys here. So I've got, let me just delete my copied one. So I've got this family experience survey for new families that that comes with GRMHIS that we've already set up for you. So the reporting code here, what I've used is just simply ESN. So ES stands for experience survey, and then N for new families. If I close this and I go to the repeat families one, I have ESR, R for repeat. So still experience survey, repeat families. I'll go back to this one here. Then if I go to the questions, I have a reporting code for each question. So ESN is the survey, and this is the structure I've used. Q1 for question 1, Q2 for question 2, etc. And then for the answer choices, I've got ESN, Q2, A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. So this allows me to just know that these are the reporting codes for each answer. And again, this way, if I have multiple surveys and I've got 1 to 3 nights as answers for all 3, and I want to be able to report on all those together, as long as all of those have the same reporting code, ESN Q2A1, then you'll be able to report that. So just to show that if I go to the French version of this survey and I go to question 2, you'll see here I still have ESN Q2A1, but it's in French. So but it still allows me to tie those answers together. At the same time, I am also able to report per survey. So I can also see the answers just for the English version of the survey and just for the French version of the survey. So it allows me to pull them together or to just report them individually. So in order to use these surveys, I need to publish them first. So I'm going to publish this survey. So this is my family experience survey for new families. I've got a family experience survey for repeat families. And by the way, if you don't want to use these surveys, that's up to you. You can scrap them and start from scratch if you wanted to as well. But these were set standard. These are the standard surveys that the Canadian chapters use, and so I included them with this version of with GRMHIS. I'm going to publish this, and I'm just going to have the English versions published for the sake of the demo here. Okay, the last thing to do around the creation of surveys is for contacts. The survey module will check once a week if there are any survey responses that you have received that you haven't downloaded. And in the third video, I'll show you how you can actually download those responses. But if you haven't downloaded them, and there are some sitting there in the table waiting to be downloaded, this module will just wake up once a week and it'll just send you an email saying, hey, there's some survey responses that are available for download that you haven't downloaded yet. So just a reminder to make sure that you get that. And you can create a list of contacts as to who gets that email reminder. So I'll just put myself in here, and I'll add one for my wife. And I can uncheck the box if I temporarily want to disable her from getting those notifications. Let's say so they're gone on vacation or something like that, or gone on an extended period of time. I can leave them as a contact and just uncheck the box there. So I will save that, and that now has those contacts that will get those weekly reminder notices. And you'll only get an email if there are responses that you haven't downloaded yet. All right, so that's an overview of how to set up and edit surveys. So again, any survey that has been published, you can't edit any longer because it's sitting out there, obviously. If you need to edit it, you would unpublish it, and now you can make changes to it. So if you want to tweak your invitation template, for example, or the reminder template, or you want to add questions or tweak some answers or something like that, some language, you can make that, and then you would just republish the survey again at that point. Okay, so that is the creation and editing of surveys and the contacts to notify you if there are responses that need to be downloaded. I'll see you in the next video where I will show you how to create invitations and how to manage those invitations. I'll talk to you soon.